Anytime you have 4 legs, you're going to end up with having at least one of the legs or more that's going to be a little long and causing a balance situation. So let me show you how I handle that. So if you have playing cards and you have a level, then you can, we've got a little bit of a teeter-totter there. So let's see what happens if we put a couple of playing cards under just one leg. It might be more than one leg. Then we'll take, all right, that's pretty firm there. We'll take our level, put it up here, and you know, first, we can't tell a whole lot about it from right there, but if we know whether our bench is level, let's see. If we know whether our bench is level, bench is pretty doggone level. So now I need this to probably, that looks pretty good. Let's see. If I bring it up just a little bit more on this side, then we'll have it. So I need to take a few off of this side. And this is just, you just have to work with it till it smiles at you. Well, let's see what we have here now. Aha! That's it. That's good. Let's see what we have here. That's good. All right, so now, how do we make sure that we are getting this just right? I know how many cards should go here. These evidently are my short legs. And yeah, no, I'm not that tall, and I do have short legs. I want to take, I just want to mark the difference here. And so if I set this up to the bottom, yeah, that's where my leg is right there. And so if I come over here now, and I mark this, and I just take off that amount on the long legs, right there, and right there. It's not a lot. If I do that, so I'm just scribing these at the bottom. And then, yeah, all right, I've scribed the two longer ones. And so I can go to a sander or whatever it takes and just knock those down to the line. And then we ought to have a nice level table that doesn't do the old teeter-totter. So I'm going to get a sander and knock that off, and then we'll be ready to put the tabletop on. Well, we now have the pedestal all glued up. All you have to do is put glue on your tenon and in your grooves, and then take your clamps, whatever clamps you have available, and use every clamp you can to pull all 4 of the legs together into the column. After you do that, it takes a lot of sanding. That's probably one of the most miserable of all the activities. You're going to go through all of the grits, from starting with about 80 grit, 80, 100, 120, 150, 180, 220, 320, 400, and then you're going to buff it out with starting with a red Scotch-Brite pad, gray, and then white. Now, it's hard to make it just perfect. There is only so much you can do. It is sculptural. You've got some scratches here in the 5 pieces that come together that are made from 24 grit sandpaper. So you're going to have to do a lot of hand sanding, and you're going to have to really make it almost an aerobic activity. But it does pay off. And you'll see when we put the oil on it that all of a sudden it has a sculptural life and an intentionality to hold up a tabletop that will really make you happy and make you smile. You can use lots of different things for a tabletop. You can use a slab, you can use something that has a live edge, you can use whatever you'd like to use. And we've already made up the tabletop, and you'll see how it works out and how it fits. I use, and this is kind of, you don't tell everybody, but every once in a while you're gonna have a little crack and you gotta fill it with something. And I use usually my Timbermate, and I'll use a color that is appropriate. Most of the time here it's walnut. I've got this, as you see, already, and there are a couple of things left to do. One, I need to prepare to put a top on it. And to do that, there are some things that are considerations. One, I wanted to, about 2 inches from the end of the cleats here, I made a hole. And I did that in each place. And dividers are wonderful for something like that. Then I took my awl, which is better than nothing, and I made the hole just a little bit bigger. Well, the next thing is, what kind of screws or hardware are you going to use? I've got some 1.5 Craig screws. They're flathead screws, and if I put a washer under it, then there'll be some room. If I drill the hole a little bit oversized, the hole through the cleat, then there'll be some room so that I can have a little bit of movement as the top expands and contracts. So I said that they're 1.25 inches long. Well, so 5/8 of an inch, or half the screw, I want into the tabletop. This tabletop is going to do well with a 5/8 of an inch in it, especially these great threads here, pulling on it and holding it down. So I want to go 5/8 of an inch into take a Forstner bit, and this just happens to be a 5/8 inch Forstner bit, so I'll have plenty of room for my my washer there. And if I drill this first, it'll leave a little hole in the middle that I can use to drill the rest of the way down. So, I've got my dial caliper set for 5/8 of an inch. So I'm going to drill it, test it, drill it, test it, till I can get all the way down to that depth. All right, so it's got the Forstner bit, drills a nice flat hole, and it's got a nice little brad point right there. And I'm going to drill it by hand. I can't take it to the drill press. All right, let's see how deep we are. It looks like I've got a ways to go there, about another quarter of an inch. And so I'm going to keep going. All right, that looks good. Now, I'm going to drill the others, and then I'll come back and drill my final hole so that we can put the screw in and lay the tabletop down, lay it out, and attach it. All right, I've got about a 3/16 inch drill bit here that is larger in diameter than my screw, which is good because that will give the screw room to move around a little bit within each of these cleats, so that as the tabletop expands and contracts, it'll be able to move. So I'm going to drill each hole now, and I've got to put it over a place in my vise here so that I can come out the other side. All right, so now we've got our holes. We got all of our sawdust falling out of the holes too. Yeah. Now we want to make sure that we flatten this just a bit up here where the screw went through. And I don't want anything sticking up that's going to keep our top from tightening down. So I got a little scraper here taking care of that. Okay, so at this point I've got some grid lines here at 90-degree angles, and that's going to help me lay this out. I'm sit it up here, I want to be able to get all of the legs positioned in the right place. So I've got to walk around. And when they're all in the center, which takes a little bit of effort here, when they're all in the center, then I will know all right, I've got it. Now I'm going to make myself just a few helper points here. All right. Now, the idea is to take the screws stick them in the holes. In case everything shifts, I'm going to lay these out. All right, so I think I'm ready. You never know. So let's see what happens. Any type of Danish oil finish is going to be just perfect. So I have an oil finish here that I can start putting on. You don't have to have a perfect environment to put on an oil finish. And it's really nice when you see all of that work start to come alive and see your lines start looking good as you get that oil in there. This is fun right here. This is the celebration that is so nice. Yep, I think that's it.